The following video was originally broadcast live on August 5th, 2024, as an exclusive for the Grossman Files YouTube channel. Mill Serp Garage. Glad to be joining you again here on the Grossman Files. We have our Charter Arms Bulldog 44 Special Revolver, circa 1972. This was the revolver used by David Berkowitz during his crime spree, his shooting spree. Every single one of the shootings that they have attributed to David Berkowitz used the Charter Arms 44 Special. Some information has come to light. I'm sure you know, if you're a frequent visitor to this channel, that Wendy Savino was announced as highly probable to be a victim that the crime predates all of the other Son of Sam shootings. I mean, I don't want to say the first, because who knows if there's one before, maybe there could be even another one before that. Only some research, Manny's research, could uncover something like that. But April 9th, 1976 predates all of the other crimes used with this gun, where they found 32 caliber shell casings on the ground, which would denote 32 caliber semi-automatic handgun. And I told Manny that I'd come in and I'd show you guys some 32 caliber semi-automatic handguns, what they look like. And interestingly enough, that from like a powerhouse like the 44 Special, you're not really sacrificing size that much to the handgun, surprisingly. First, if we took a look at the rounds, so this would be your 44 Special. These are inert rounds, by the way. I don't mix, and you shouldn't ever mix live ammo and real guns during a demonstration. That's not a shooting demonstration. This is a 9mm, which is, it might sound familiar to you, even if you're unfamiliar with guns, just because 9mm is just the typical round that's most popular, used for most people that would buy a gun. Most police forces use the 9mm. And here is the 32 caliber ACP. So while you see a size difference here, size doesn't tell the whole story. When it comes to ammunition, of course, there's a few factors. There's powder charge, there's weight of the bullet. There's a lot of other factors that matter. The smaller round isn't always, like the percentage that it's smaller is not indicative to the percentage that it would be less powerful, let's say. Not necessarily. But it is a good indicator, just like how a larger person, a smaller person would be a good indicator on how dangerous they might be if you fought them. I've seen some small people beat up some big people in my time. So it's not always it's not the only factor, you know what I mean? But look at just looking at this, you could see, you'd expect a much bigger bang out of this, and this larger projectile here, which surely I would definitely want to get hit with a smaller projectile if I was going to get hit with anything. So the going narrative would be that he wasn't satisfied with the performance of the 32 caliber. Now, the 32 caliber, this is a round that's been around since, I think, 1899, right around the turn of the century. John Browning invented it. And At the time, it was the round that you would typically carry for self-defense. It was much more popular. Rounds more this size and 38 special, and these rounds kind of took over for 32. It's considered the smallest you want to go for self-defense. If you went any smaller to this, to say 25 caliber or something like that, they would say that they're no good. But nobody's really would say, like 380 these days, which is a little bit larger, but not much. They still say is viable. But a lot of people, they say 32. It's just not powerful enough for either self-defense, for anything, for using for anything, for using for war, for using for self-defense. It's kind of like outshined now by a lot of more powerful rounds, let's say. So that being said, let's get the rounds out of here. And let's just really take a look at, say, the size of the guns. So if Berkowitz settled on that, we know for sure he used this. So if we work our way backwards and we say, okay, if he did use a 32, what could he have used? So this is a FN model 1910. I'll leave this kind of in the picture just so you can get an idea of the size difference. Not much of a size difference there, right? This is the FN model 1910. This is a semi-automatic pistol. Now, these semi-automatic pistols, they use magazines that are detachable. You fill the magazines with the bullets, and as you shoot in the action cycles, it leaves brass behind. So this could be a reason why after the first shooting, let's say, not only did Berkowitz realize it wasn't powerful enough, if he was going to switch to a more powerful gun, leaving the shell casings behind, he might have also said, you know what? Not only do I want to go more powerful, I think it's probably a good idea not to leave shell casings behind. So that is one factor that could go towards saying that this is a, plausible scenario. We have another one here. The, what is this thing? This is the 1903 Pocket Hammerless. I'm sorry. This is a Colt. This could potentially be, he seemed to like American guns. He didn't really have anything foreign. Even his 22 was a Marlin, I believe. His shotgun was American. Everything that this guy had seemed to be, nothing was foreign. And a 32 caliber semi-automatic pistol such as this one could potentially be what he had. But I'm going to show you what at the end what I'm thinking. The last one is going to be what I'm thinking he used. He used something like this. This is like a kind of like a military surplus. I'm thinking he went more towards military surplus, but this is kind of like a World War I military surplus German semi-automatic pistol, a Mauser. This is in 32 caliber. See, the European designation was 7.65. So 7.65 is the same as 32 caliber. 7.65 is 7.65 millimeter. We got, here's an American gun, Savage. These are kind of old. This is a model 1907. I mean, look how Art Deco this looks. This is like a 1910 gun. I'm not so convinced that he went back this far, but even for 1910, this guy, if the magazine would come out, this is a double stack magazine. That's comparable, believe it or not, to like the firepower of modern pistols. So this could have been something that he could have potentially had. Here is another German pistol. These were very popular. This might look familiar to you guys into James Bond. This is a Walther PP. It's not a PPK, which is what James Bond carried, but the PP stands for police pistol, and it's what German police carried then. And yeah, it's 32 caliber, and these were very popular. They were available on the surplus market. There's a story, Manny will talk about it, I'm sure. The letter that he sent to somebody that said, a friend of his when he was in the Army, that said, hey, if you're interested, there's a lot of surplus guns over here. If you're interested in a surplus pistol or something. So I think he might have been talking about police shotguns too or whatever, but typical back in the 70s were World War II surplus guns. This is kind of like more along the lines of what he might have used. So if I had to guess, I would say something like this is a potential right here. This is a Beretta. It's a Beretta model 1935. This is a 1957 model. This is something that might have been knocking around in these types of, surplus bins, back in the day, back in the 70s, that he might have used. And you could see there isn't much of a size difference, And if Berkowitz used a 32 and he said, I need to step up to like 38. So let's say he was going to go with a snub-nosed 38. This is a Colt snub-nosed 38. Right? It's not much of a difference to go from the 32 to the 38. And believe it or not really much of a difference in size to step up to the Bulldog, is there? So he could, if he did have a problem with the firepower, if that scared him, that he's like, wow, I'm out here to do this killing. I shot this lady and she didn't die. What's going on here? If he was going to step up, he might just jump right over the 38 and be like, well, I'm not going to have that problem again. I'm just going to go to the 44 as this, I'm just going to go to something that's much more powerful, And if we look even, let's check out, let me see, are we getting some reflection? No. So let's check out, even look at the weight. The weight of the 32, 1 pound, 6.7 ounces. So he went with a 38. 1 pound, 5.4 ounces. And the Bulldog, amazingly, 1 pound, 2.5 ounces, the lightest of them all. That's what was special about the Bulldog. The design, the materials, how it was made, it was very advanced for its time. Even though it was like what you'd consider like a cheap gun. I mean, it really was considered lower price point. It really had a tremendous amount to offer for self-defense purposes. And that's what I think Berkowitz might have gone with, something like this, with the 32, if you ask me. And here I got a little video here that shows the performance of the 32 caliber here at the range, what it looks like shooting it. And if he did use a 32, he got rid of it because they didn't find that in his in his apartment or in the repertoire. And it's interesting because if he did use a 32 caliber in a shooting like that or whatever, you'd think he would get rid of it. He would get rid of it, so you wouldn't expect to find it.
Single action.
But what's interesting is that he kept shell casings. They did find shell casings from the 44, but you'd think he might have kept shell casings from the 32. But I haven't heard any reports of them ever finding that. But back then, might not even been something that they were looking for. And so that's the 30. That's the 32 caliber. How it looks now. Here's the 44. This is taken from our video that we've done before in the past. You can take a look back. Me and Manny did a collab once before where I did a video showing the performance of the 44 Special and what it looked like, kind of like a Berkowitz eye view. So those are the 32 calibers. And if I had to say, I would say that it would have been something like this. This is what a 32 automatic looks like. And again, shooting it, you're leaving brass behind. There's no way to prevent that. Even if you just fired one round, it would leave brass behind. There's no way to prevent leaving it. You'd have to actually bend down and pick it up, whatever. It's in a dark parking lot. That's certainly not happening. Meanwhile, with the 44, you drop 5 of these. In here. And after you fire it, you spend all the rounds out and everything, and you open it up. You'd have all 5 shell casings here. The only thing you're leaving behind is the bullets. So that's it, man. I hope this was enlightening in some respect. But yeah, there's all a bunch. Could have been any number of 32 caliber guns used here by Berkowitz. They're all about the same size. It all function just about the same. The question would be, where do you think, if he was falling on like mentioning surplus stuff, what he would use? In my opinion, back in the mid 70s, early 70s, a World War II vintage Italian semi-automatic like this would probably be something that he would be finding. And happy to visit with you again, Manny. See you later.